All right, Mr. Peck, welcome to another fantastic Tuesday. How you doing this week?
Great, man. Episode 8 here. We have now tied John Krasinski for the number of episodes, so it's time to take over the crown next week.
Big news. Maybe we start collecting royalties on episode 9?
I mean, Fox, ABC, NBC, if you're out there,
Anybody.
we're available, and it won't cost you as much as John Krasinski, I promise you.
It's a good thing. We have an incredible show here for everybody playing today. We've got some fantastic seniors along with some of their coaches and teachers joining us later on. Mr. Peck, who's up first, though?
So the first thing we're going to do today, instead of our usual repartee and banter about TV shows and cooking and whatnot, obviously we are a nation in crisis right now. We're a nation where a lot of people are angry. A lot of people are disappointed. A lot of people are sick seeing, the treatment of people of color in our country. So Mr. Eckler and I discussed, as activism teachers, as allies, we have a voice here. And it's like I tell my students, one of your most powerful weapons in this world is your voice. So Mr. Eckler and I wanted to use our voice and amplify the voices of others. So our guests to start the show today are some fellow members of the Schroeder diversity team at Webster Schroeder that are doing great work to, move Webster forward in terms of equity and equality. So please welcome them to Schroeder Good News.
First up, we have Mrs. Streggy. How are you doing, Mrs. Streggy?
Hi, I'm well, thank you.
Also, we have Mrs. Sturivant. How are you, Miss Sturivant?
Hanging in there.
First,
Great
Mr.
Spider-Man
McCarthy. How are you, Mr. McCarthy?
That's
doing
Dr.
okay, thank you.
McCarthy to you, sir. Dr.
Welcome
McCarthy.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
So we wanted to, many of you, I've spent many hours and conversations, we're all dedicated to and working towards making, Webster, our schools, our community, our hallways, our classrooms, a more equitable place. And we know, we've done some good work this year, but I think we all know how much farther we have to come. And so with that, I just want to turn it over to you guys and hear your voices.
Let's have a direct question. Like, you're going to throw them on the bus there.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell we wrote this preview. But Mr. McCarthy, what are some of your thoughts about what has happened in our country over the past weekend? And really, actually, since last week. I've lost track of the specific dates too now. But, really over the past couple of days, we've kind of seen a conversation start to happen. And I think it's important for us to have locally and certainly even within our school. So we're just curious as to we'll start with you and your thoughts on what's going on in our country.
Well, unfortunately, this is not new. And it's the same story that keeps playing itself out, and the same results and the same things. I'll just say it, a bunch of white people get together and say, we got to do something about this. And then it fades out of the news and another terrible incident happens and we all are up in arms. And hopefully this is enough. It was enough many centuries ago. And I think for us, what you're seeing now is hopefully a coalescing of people saying we've got to do something, and what that is taking every possible step necessary to intervene, particularly for those who don't maybe have the power or influence to do so.
Mrs. Sturivant?
Yeah, listening to Dr. McCarthy's sentiments, I kind of share those same things. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge George Floyd and his family and what happened to him. Sadly, this is not a new occurrence, as Dr. McCarthy has said. It's something that has kind of plagued our society for centuries, really. Enough is enough. I think kind of what you are seeing not only in the United States, but in other countries as well that kind of stand in solidarity with us, like things need to change, and the treatment of people of color in this country needs to change. So, you know, I stand symbolically with the peaceful protesters that have been trying to come together to have a collective voice and to say, like, we are not invisible and we are important and these things matter. So I definitely appreciate that piece. Yeah, and let Ms. Strachey jump in.
I would say, yeah, you know, like you said, this is nothing new, and the brutality and the you know, the sacrifices of Black bodies that we've seen historically. But I think the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery and then Breonna Taylor and George Floyd in succession are leading to an awakening. You know, just that it's, you know, one after the other, and how much can people endure. And we've already seen within our own Schroeder community an urgency behind people wanting to get involved and wanting to join our diversity and equity team. You know, I think maybe we had an involved team before, but maybe people thought they had their hands in too many things or didn't have the time to meet when we do, or to you know, commit themselves to this work. And I've seen a real reorganization of priorities when people are saying, okay, this is something we need to do.
Thank you. You know, it's a perfect segue, I think, too, Ms. Strachey, to kind of talk about, you know, Mr. McCarthy, what are some of the things that Webster's done? We've certainly noticed, you know, for far too long, we've needed to have a conversation in our own community about this. And I'm really proud that it's starting to happen. And Mr. Peck mentioned at the beginning of the show, I think the five of us have been involved in some of that. And we know we have a long way to go. But it's starting, and I don't know if you could speak to some of the things that have happened within the district over the last, I think, couple of years, really.
Yeah, sure. So we started really, Mr. Gomina, myself, Board of Education, having conversations 2 or 3 years ago. Should have happened much sooner. But what came from those conversations first was a parent group. What we know is that we have a group of parents who haven't been connected to the system, and we needed to do a better job of providing voice and community. And so we created a parent group, and the parent group named themselves FIRE, Families Igniting Racial Equity. And we would encourage all families to participate in that. I would anticipate will be some information coming out sooner rather than later. We've done a lot of work with teachers, recognizing the power and impact that they have in terms of their curriculum and the stories that they tell in their classrooms. We have engaged students, certainly at Schroeder through the Dream Club, but it's bigger than the Dream Club. And I think that the thing we really need to emphasize is this work is not about the students of color, our African American Latinx students in our schools. It's about white kids. It's about white families. It's about us saying we've got to use our power and our privilege and leverage it for change. And that actually it creates more. It's more. It creates more opportunity. It doesn't create less opportunity. And we have to give voice. And so that's really been what we've been doing. And Mr. Eckler, I can't say it enough. We have so much farther to go. We are just scratching the surface. But what we need is people like this panel here, and more importantly, people at home to keep pushing on us and keep saying, what can we do better in our system?
So, Mrs. Strachey, not to put you on the spot, be no Billy Joel questions, I promise. But as our library media specialist, so say, I know, from conversations and things I've seen online, people are, well, where do I start? How do I get involved in this? Are there, as our library media specialist, are there any like books or resources that you would point people to that might be watching this today and say, you know what, they're right. I do need to get off the sideline, so to speak. Like I do need to make this a priority in my life.
Yeah, I would encourage every young adult in our district to grab a copy of your audiobook. It's on Sora, it's on Libby, and of course you can get hard copies of the book Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, and it's written by Jason Reynolds, or co-authored by Jason Reynolds and Dr. Ibram Kendi. You would probably recognize Jason Reynolds from titles like All American Boys, Look Both Ways, and Dr. Ibram Kendi spoke this year in Rochester and was part of a countywide reading of how to be an anti-racist. So as a white ally, I'm spending a lot of time reading and listening and trying to be a better listener so that I can play the role that best moves us forward.
Thank you for those book recommendations. I know we did a book club this year where we looked at White Fragility. The author's name escapes me at this point, but I think that's another incredibly powerful book that people can dive into. And I think that book's almost like a starting point. Like I have to, understand that concept of white fragility and why, white people tend to have such a sort of visceral reaction to discussing race and racism before you can move forward with any meaningful work.
Yeah, that one's Robin DiAngelo. Yeah, but absolutely get that counterbalance and make sure that you read those titles written by people of color as well.
Jump in for just a minute because I know
I was going to give you the last word there.
some of the students that I work with are very book avoidant, we will say. But one of the things that I have been doing during this time is just also engaging in meaningful conversations with people who don't necessarily share my perspectives on things that are going on. And I think that that's a big part that kind of gets lost. And that's kind of where one of the struggles of society is we have a really hard time engaging with people that don't think like us or don't want to listen to the points of view that we have. So that's something that I've been focusing on. And I know a lot of teens do enjoy talking and sharing their opinions. So having those dialogues, I mean, even my husband and I talk all the time and we often don't necessarily see eye to eye on things. And so that has been helpful for me just growing as a person and feeling better prepared to engage with other people that don't necessarily share my same values, don't see the world the way that I see it. So having conversations, even when you're not reading, is also another alternative.
Well, that's fantastic. We know that even though we wanted to devote some time to this on the show, we knew that we could add an entire show about it to do conversations around race and equity and equality, justice. But I want to thank you guys very much for at least coming on to address this. It was important that Mr. Peck and I actually, mentioned something before we pivot to, celebrating our seniors, which is what we enjoy doing so much on this show. And so I want to thank the three of you very much for coming on and helping us with this.
Thank you. And good luck to the class of 2020 and go change the world. We need you. We need your effort. We need your energy. We need you to take what you learned in Webster and make the world a better place. Because the adults, we've made a mess of it.
That's a good segue there. I'm going to give Mr. Strege advice to the class of 2020. That would be the perfect way to do it. Thank you so much, Mr.
No, I would just echo that as well. And, through our time working and learning from home, we've just emphasized the importance of reaching out to one another. And I think, now more than ever, check in on your your friends to see how they're doing. Have those conversations, like Mrs. Sturdivant said, have those courageous conversations and just be ready to listen too.
Ms. Sturdivant, any advice for the class of 2020 before I let you guys go?
If I can slightly pivot, as a member of the mental health team, I would also encourage the students to make sure that they are mentally taking care of themselves and physically. So staying active, reading when you can, but doing things that invest in your own mental health to keep yourself sane, because you are entering into a crazy world, as Dr. McCarthy has said. So making sure you take care of yourself so that you can also take care of others.
And thank you, Mrs. Sturdivant, because I'm gonna blow your spot up right now. But she has probably texted me, like, I think once a week since school started to check in on me. And
me too. I've been getting. I want you to
being
know
married to a social worker, though, like, I see through her. I'm like, you're trying to help me right now, aren't you? Like, digging deep, trying to see what's going on in my life. And I appreciate that I appreciate our friendship, and I appreciate that you take the time to check in and see how I'm doing every week.
These are the things that will carry you far in life, is checking in and taking care of others. So, Eckler, read the book that I recommended to you.
I'm reading.
I started watching that Trevor Noah video today too. I haven't gotten to finish yet, but you recommended that to me the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Open is one of.
I'm always full of recommendations. Kids, if you want to email me.
If you want to talk My Hero Academia with her, she's your
all day.
Right there.
And I watch so much anime. Yes, all of it.
Thank you guys again so much for being on the Schroeder Good News Show, and we will see all of you soon. Hopefully it's on much better circumstances.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. All right. So,
are you keeping Mrs. Strike on the grill?
No. I was. I wanted to let you know that we have.
I mean, speaking of, while you're stuttering over your words there, I'll say, speaking of Streggies, I'd like to give a big shout out to Mr. Streggy, our athletic director, for running the Sideline store, which I'm wearing right now, Warriors. It's my great cutoff sweatshirt. Probably the best item on the entire Sideline store, because it's literally comes with the sleeves cut off on a sweatshirt. It's awesome. I know Mr. Sepka just ordered one for himself, so he can look maybe half as cool as I do. We'll see.
He definitely would. Now, I would love to bring on our next guest that's slated here, but I want you to know our two seniors have not checked in yet. Our third is here. All right, so I don't know if you want to send them a text. So
I will.
I'm going to bring one of my favorite students for the year. Outstanding. She's got some good news to share as well. Lauren, how are you? How are you doing in this quarantine? Wonderful.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm also going to bring a friend of yours, all right? And this is your drumline coach. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Carver, how are you? Welcome to the Schroeder Good News Show.
Hi, guys. How are you? Hi, Lauren. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Great. How are you, friend?
Good. Well, as best as we possibly can be, right?
Yep.
That's great. Lauren, what good news do you have to share with everybody today?
So I got accepted into a research program at RIT, so I'd be working with one of the professors there, studying antibiotic resistance and bacteria and stuff like that. So
which could be really important.
Summer.
That's a really important field to be going
into. Awesome. Congratulations.
Mr. Peck, I don't know about you, but every time we have these seniors on our show to celebrate them, I feel like I somehow underachieved in high school.
Like I was a complete bum, you know. Yay, I had an 89%. Like, geez, Louise, you guys are. I don't think students realize how smart they actually are and how gifted they are and how talented they are. Like, you guys are completely outshining us as teachers. You guys are way better than us and way smarter than us.
The Schroeder class of 2020 just crushing.
I'm telling it's I know the cliche is change the world and everything, but if there's one group of human beings that is capable of it, it is this group.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had an 89 average for most of high school too.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I still did it.
We'll round that up to a 90 for you.
Yeah.
You've earned it. Mr. Carver, I wanted to ask you on, because I know, perhaps that you could speak to this question. I happened to be with Lauren, when the news kind of came down that we were all going to be shut down and canceled, and I think it was the last of your events or the upcoming event. Lauren, help me out there. Which one was it?
We had about 3 weeks left of Drumline before, when everything got shut down. So we had a couple of competitions before championships.
And part of the theme here too today is we have some athletes and people who do extracurriculars on today, and it's just, to me, heartbreaking to lose any kind of senior spring season or last event. So I was wondering if you could just maybe you have a favorite memory of Lauren's that you might want to share, or if you could just speak to the hard work and dedication. That you guys are by far and away. I've always said the Webster Marching Band is by far and away, and no disrespect to anybody else, the hardest working group that we have. Because I have run baseball camps and gotten there at 9 a.m. and it goes to noon or something. And I've seen the marching band be there at 7 a.m. and by 3 o'clock when we're leaving, still on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys keep my kids up at night because I'm near.
I'm sorry. There's a 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock noise ordinance, and we go right up to about 9 o'clock to make sure that, we get as much out of them as we can. One of the coolest things about Lauren is she really learned very quickly, and she always tried her best to make sure whatever she put out there on the performance field or in the competition was exactly what the staff was asking. One of my memorable moments that was actually not so nice with Lauren, but it was actually oh man, this is actually really, really cool because she listened. But I was following the drum line around, and I had my back turned, and she's spinning her flag or a rifle or something. I think it was a flagpole, and he's really getting after it. And next thing you know, she goes out of the formation, and I look and I go, well, what are you doing? She goes, well, you're in my spot. And I go, well, here, I'll help you fix that the next time. Just whack me one good time, and then I'll never be there again. So, I watched out for her. And then, oh my goodness, there was one day I really wasn't paying attention. I didn't see her. She's like, wow. And I felt it right on my shoulder. I go, what? And she goes,
I hit you in the leg.
Was it the leg?
Yes.
Well, it took me all the way up to the shoulder. It was one of those different effects. Maybe it was a different crowd. I've been hit a lot of times by flagpoles. But one of the good things is she said, hey, you taught me that this is my spot. And if there was a judge in my spot, then I got to do my performance, and the judge just has to figure it out. And so on that day, I had to figure it out. That was Lauren really going after her performances and getting after her show. And I just wandered away with an ice pack and kind of sucked it up and was never in that spot again.
That is a phenomenal story. You are a fantastic storyteller.
I love how literally she took those instructions.
Would have been the bracelet I made you, but whatever.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, hold on. The reason I don't have that bracelet is because it's actually hanging from my rear view mirror in my car.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Kids kids like Lauren, and I think there's a couple of other seniors. I don't want to have Frankie steal some of your spotlight a little bit, but these kids, man, I love them so much. They are so cool. They're so easy, not always easy, but really kind of easy to work with. They're self-motivated. When they see their mistake, you don't have to tell them. You can see it on their faces that they already know they made a mistake, and they just want another opportunity to redo it again if they can. And sometimes we're like, oh, that was it. And you got to pick it up on Saturday. So, you can see her wheels turning. Here's Thursday, no rehearsal. Friday, a little bit of practice. Saturday, some. But then on Saturday night for the competition, she's all about it.
That is fantastic. Lauren, I have to ask you this question. I'm assuming it's going to be something similar, but do you have a favorite memory at Webster Schroeder?
It's probably going to have to be just all of my experience of marching band, to be honest.
I figured.
Well, because
cheap plug.
Well, I was in the marching band from my first day of high school to, technically my last, I guess. But that I made so many lifelong friends there, and it's like it's really its own little family. Like I'm still seeing some of my band moms, for coffee, and I'm still talking to all these people, and I don't know, it's just it I have so many memories that I'll never forget and so many people that changed my life, and it's just yeah. That was my favorite part of high school.
Yeah, I mean, and it was having you in class. I certainly can echo most of the stuff that Mr. Carver is saying. Certainly about Frank. We got to have him on this show too.
Heck yeah, we got to have Frankie on here.
We've got some. My favorite.
That show is going to have to be like 2.5 hours long if we have.
Yeah,
Frankie.
I mean, he would. We'd have to limit him to one question.
Yeah.
My favorite Frankie memory, I would share that. Actually, I don't know if we could say that, but I remember he was sitting at the piano. And I said something. I just shouted down the hallway. I'm like, "Why don't you just play some Queen?" And he started with Bohemian Rhapsody, almost like start to finish, like in the middle of the hallway. And somebody said something like, "You got to stop." I'm like, "Nope, you can't stop in the middle of that song. He's going all the way through. It's not something you end halfway through." So we appreciate all the stuff the marching band does. Lauren, you're awesome. Ty, thanks so much for coming on and saying some nice words. We got some other
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. I gotta say too, I gotta thank Mr. Carver and the whole drum line. I loved when we had you guys as part of the pep rally, Spirit Week, which was awesome. I think you guys played the football team onto the field once too.
Yep.
I feel like the beginning part of the school year was like 6 years ago, but I do recall that, and that was awesome. So thank you guys for all you do for Schroeder and all your hard.
Thank you. I mean, we're working on a program to get everything back instated so that we're at those games. Sorry, Lauren, you're going to miss this part of it, but you can always come back and help out. That's one thing I do remember about Lauren. There was always so many like freshmen or younger people that it might have been like struggling a little bit. Lauren's like, "Hey, if I can do this, you can do this. We got this." So yeah, I can't wait to get back in. Trust me.
Wonderful. Thanks you guys so much again, and we'll hopefully see you around school soon. Lauren, best of luck to you.
Thank
you. Good luck,
Congratulations.
Guys.
All right.
So I think are both of our senior guests here? I know one of them should.
One is definitely here.
All right.
JW, do you want to introduce JW?
Yeah. So our next guest, a soon-to-be St. Bonaventure Bonnie, just like myself.
Is she really going there?
Yeah, man, of course. Greatest school on God's green.
Okay.
You're jealous. You went to a subpar Saint school.
Introduce the phenomenal.
Welcome, Jess to the show while I pontificate.
Hi, Jess.
Hi.
See, she gets it. She knows what I'm talking about.
We also got somebody fantastic to join you on the show today. He's been waiting patiently for that. So, Mr. Brown, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Right. Jess, what good news do you have to share with us? So, though, Mr. Peck.
Well, my good news is I'm going to Bonaventure next fall. So, yeah.
And what are you thinking about studying, my dear?
So I'm studying health science to go into OT for a master's in OT. So
awesome. Well, just interesting. What made you pick St. Bonaventure? This is going to be a St. Bonaventure show.
My older cousin she'll be a junior this year. So she went, and when I had Mr. Peck for leadership, he would always talk about Bonaventure, and it really got me into looking into it more. And I never really thought that I would fall in love with it as much as I did. But yeah, Mr. Peck was a big part of it. And my family being there too was also influenced me. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Awesome. As you should be.
Yes.
Mr. Brown, question for you. Do you have a favorite Jess Wilmot memory?
Sure. So with Jess, what I'll miss the most is hi, Uncle Kent, as she's walking down the hallway or walking to class. She knew that was going to come because I started laughing all the time. But what I'll probably miss the most is interacting with her in the hallways. I had a lot of fun with Jess all 4 years.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna embarrass Jess a little bit too while we're doing it, because I think we always talk about like, oh, you're gonna be missed, things like that. But like Jess, I put this in Jess's letter of recommendation too. Like she is legitimately like you're one of those kids like we can't replace at school. Like just personality, like you're always smiling, you bring people up. Like that's going to be one of the things when you say like, oh, Schroeder's going to miss, so-and-so, like that's, the hallway's going to be different without Jess Wilmot walking around next year.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you. And do you have a favorite Schroeder memory?
I have to say volleyball. I love how every volleyball girl that's been on here has said volleyball, because I think that just shows how much of a family we are as a team and how much volleyball impacted all of us. But yeah, definitely volleyball.
That's great. And then our always last question, it's always fun, is like, do you have any advice for any seniors, or, perhaps how to survive a pandemic?
Yeah, so although it's probably cliche, I was thinking about this earlier, and the only thing I came up with is just to not take things for granted, because it can get taken away from you at any point, especially appreciating actually being in school. Yeah, little things like getting to see your family, your friends, just never take it for granted.
That's awesome. That's what we always like to hear. We've heard a lot, and Mr. Peck and I, we know we speak highly of the class of 2020. So I want to thank the two of you guys for waiting patiently, for coming on and sharing all the good news, because we really enjoy it. We've had a lot of teachers on here. Mr. Brown, you've been requested several times, so I'm glad you could make this this stop on the Good News Show. And you never know, it might not be your last time, because our next guest that I'm going to bring on here first, Mr. Prinzi, he's like a regular.
Yeah, this is like a second appearance on here, Mr. Prinzi.
All right.
2 in a row, guys. 2 in a row.
For the math people, that's a quarter of our shows you've been on.
So, Mr. Brown, I'm going to say goodbye to you.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Mr. Brown.
Hey,
Thanks
Mr.
very
Brown.
much. All right, and then I'm going to bring on. All right, Jess, do you want to be on with Sam?
Yeah, Jess will stick around.
Yeah,
right,
I'll say hi to Sam.
I have room now, so like we can now add, Sam on the show.
Hey.
Oh,
there he is.
Finally decides to show up.
And because you were late, hold on, Sam. Because you were late, I'm gonna have your hockey coach yell at you right now. Right? So
Mr. Mordacy, start skating, buddy.
Mr. Mordacy has been waiting for half an hour. You let him have a minute.
I'm so sorry. I honestly,
Sam.
I didn't check my email. I didn't even see. I'm so sorry.
You know what, Jess? You know what Sam was probably busy doing? He probably broke into school, found my beanbags, and wrote mean things on it again.
Definitely. That's definitely what he was doing.
Yeah.
Come on now, Sam.
100%.
I'm being framed. I am being framed.
Nope.
All right, Sam. Serious question. Let's hope you have a good answer for us, because we've got you on the show, and Mr. Peck vouched for you. What good news do you have for us?
Good news. Like, what's the context? It's like,
have you even watched the show? Have you ever seen the show?
No, I haven't seen the show yet.
I'm so disappointed right now.
What? Mr. Eckler and I are going to sell this show to major networks, and you're messing it up.
Okay.
Are you gaming while you're on this show? Are you multitasking?
Am I? No. I wouldn't do that. No.
Okay.
Where
are you going at? What are your plans after school, buddy? Let's start there.
So my plans are to go to UB for computer engineering. Hopefully I'll be able to go in the fall. That'd be some good news for sure. Yeah, UB college, I'm working this summer. So yeah, that's the good news for me, I guess.
That's great news. That's what we wanted to hear. I think you could sell it a little bit more. Like, I'm gonna go and.
Yeah, Sam, you could actually be excited about your future if you'd like to.
I am excited. I promise.
Don't make me.
You're gonna.
Do we gotta call
you're gonna study,
to get
Sam?
her on the show?
Yeah, you should get her on the show. Actually, I'm not even joking.
I'm going to start with Mr. Prinzi first, because I think Mr. Mordacy's story might be a little better. Mr. Prinzi, do you have a favorite Sam story?
What?
I know.
Oh my God. Well, I did have Sam for 2 years, so I was thinking. I don't know if there's one.
3 years with Sam.
Oh, wow.
Three-timer club, baby.
Yep.
You do have me beat. No, I would just he was just a good kid in class that he would always like, and I don't know if he was like sucking up for points, or he always laughed at our jokes and stuff.
I was, hey, no, that's not sucking up for points. I was just trying to make you. I was just laughing just to make the mood a little better.
Oh, yeah, because math is so exciting, I guess. But I could always count on Sam to ask a question when needed, which is something that's good. You need leaders in the classroom that aren't afraid to speak up. And in our class, a lot of it was asking questions. I knew a lot of the kids wouldn't understand it or have issues. And I could count on him to actually say, hey, can I tried the homework and I didn't understand this problem. Can we talk about that? And so he spoke for a lot of the other students, I felt like, which was something I really appreciated for him. So.
Thanks, Mr. Prinzy.
Sam, I'm assuming you did a lot of actually, Mr. Prinzy. Big question here.
No, I saved that for you, Mr. Pack. That's your
okay.
specialty.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Prinzy, do you want to stick around or do you have to go? I know you had.
I actually do have to run. I have another meeting. I have to go to another Zoom meeting now. So, but thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Prinzy.
Congrats to you guys. Sam,
thank you.
Both great kids. You're going to do great. And I'm sure Mr. Mordacey has a good story he can share now as well.
All right, I want to introduce our next guest. At least I think some people may know him, but he is a teacher over at Spry. We've been trying to recruit him to the high school for some time. Maybe one day he'll come over and join us. He's our second teacher, I believe, that we've had on the show from Spry. Mr. Mordacey, how are you?
You're muted.
I got him. Sorry.
There we go.
Muted. There, Mr. Mordacey.
Oh, here we go. I was just going to ask, am I the first from Spry, but I guess I'm the second.
No, we had
KV. I forget. Chris Ann's sixth grade
English.
Oh, Miss Canny, yeah.
Yeah.
Canny. I was close.
Canny, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, no, thanks for having me. The show's great. I've seen a couple of the episodes. I thought everything you guys touched on earlier in the show was important stuff, for sure. And then the drumline stuff, they've been doing a great job this year. I noticed them a lot in the fall at the football games. And Jess is a former White House 8th grade student of mine. I'm glad to see her out there. She's going to Bonavent.
White House.
Hi, Jess.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Sam.
And now that brings us here to Sam, or who we know as Sobe. That was his name, at least around the hockey team. And just like Mr. Prinzy said, Sam's definitely a kid that could always be counted on and relied upon for anything. You need something, you can go to Sam, and he would follow through with whatever that need was.
That's for showing up on time for Schroeder. Good news. You can.
Yeah. He makes up for it.
I'm never going to live that down.
You're the most nonchalant guest we've ever had. Like, you're back in the chair. He's like, these guys needed me. I feel like we paid you or something to be on the show.
Not true at all. Not true.
Now, Sam, quick question. Is that the infamous chair from your Link Crew application video from last year?
It actually isn't, but speaking of that, I just looked at that video to watch again just because I laughed at myself. And I still do to this day. I laugh at myself. I thought it was hilarious.
For those of you that don't know, Mr. Eckler and I are two of the Link Crew coordinators at Schroeder, and we have to go through about anywhere from like 70 to 100 videos every year of kids that want to join Link Crew. And Sam's last year was not intentional, was it?
It was
okay.
Sam jumped into his chair, show how excited he was, and the chair just bounced him right out.
Okay, I will say it was unintentional the first time, but I messed up on my speaking. I slurred my words. So I looked back at the video. I was like, this is amazing. I gotta do this again. So I just did it again, and I thought it was hilarious. So I just kept it.
Now, Sam and Jess, we've all as teachers, we've been Zooming with students, and I've been discovering that the average sleep time seems to be about 4 a.m. Is that about right for the two of you?
Probably not Jess, because she's more like a mom, but right, Jess? Am I right?
You're right, but usually it's 11 o'clock, but now it's been midnight or 1. Definitely not 4.
All right.
Wow.
And Sam, have you been up? Do you have a go-to game?
I've been up probably till 1 in the morning on average. That's average. I sleep until 8:39 though. So I mean, I'm not like getting up late. I'm not getting up at like 12 like a bum. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're ready to go for college.
Adobe's gonna drag you out of bed.
She does sometimes actually. If I have a late night, she'll drag me out of bed.
Sam, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite Schroeder memory?
Schroeder memory.
Writing a swear word on Mr.
I mean,
oh, goodness gracious!
Still never gonna live that down.
These are all leadership inside jokes.
Yeah.
What a great class. Honestly, one of those actually, or that class is probably one of my favorite memories too. Just the sheer.
Yeah, make sure people hear that because there's not a leadership class right now. So
right. I tried to promote it to different kids. Honestly, I did. Even with my whole link group, I promoted the class. You're welcome, Mr. Peck, by the way. I promoted
Thanks,
it. So. But just the sheer amount of laughter that we had in that class, just I don't know. It was such an every time I walked into that class, I knew I was just gonna walk out and be happier afterwards. So like that's why that's one of my favorite memories. I mean, I could go down the line of a million. I have a ton of memories from that school. I mean, I'm certainly gonna miss it a lot. Like hockey for sure. It's just defines me 100%. I mean, when it, like the leadership I learned from it, the friendships I gained, and even like football games and pep rallies, stuff like that. It's all just we all unified just very well, and I'm gonna miss a lot of that. So yeah.
This is one of my favorite questions always to ask. Jess, I'll give you a chance to think about it. Sam, if there's another hockey senior, because I know there were a few of you this year, a senior teammate whom potentially we could torture on this show you'd like to see, who would that be?
I have a perfect one, actually. Brennan Albert.
Brennan
Albert.
LB.
100%.
Mr. Mordesi, you think Albie would make a good guest, wouldn't he?
Oh, he'd be a great choice. Great choice.
Either him or Alex Simons.
Okay. I'd almost like to have the entire line that got kicked out of that game this year on to talk about it. Because I was there. I was the supervisor, and I'd never seen anything like that in a hockey game before. Well, I've seen it, but not in a high school game.
Despite the consequences, that was probably one of the best things I've seen in hockey. That was hilarious. That was amazing.
No discipline.
Everyone was just cheer. Oh, it was so awesome. The whole freaking crowd was like going crazy. I frozen.
Your coach is like biting his lip right now.
Yeah, Mr. Mordesi, we're not officially sponsored by the school, so
yeah. Oh, that was a memorable scene for sure.
I feel like I could talk about it now because I was in the stand shaking my head for that one. Going, did I just witness that in a high school game?
with your jaw dropped.
Yeah,
well, I opened the door for the referees, and I'm not kidding you. Like I was like, so all of them, and the referee goes, dude, all of them. We're not putting up with that. I'm like, we're standing over in the corner. He's like, they're all gone. Like, and they walked in the room. I was like, all right.
I think I'm frozen.
Reminiscent of Slapshot.
It really was. It was like it was a class.
You feel shame
for our viewers that might be like all numbering of two. Webster had the game clearly in hand, and it was just a classic. Like if you can't beat them, try to beat them. And I don't know if saying you guys were undisciplined is the right phrase, but it was just a matter of self-defense kind of a thing. I don't know. Wouldn't you agree with that, Mr. Mordesi? I'm not really.
Oh yeah, I'd say just eager. They were eager at that point in time.
Hey, we won the game too, so like.
Yes.
Cheers, right?
Yeah.
Happy to be there. All right, and we'll close the show again. Sam, do you have any wonderful advice for the class of 2020 or anybody else, juniors maybe, about how you've survived COVID-19 quarantine?
Oh, man. Honestly, I think the most important thing for me was just like hanging out with. I got him. Just spending time with like family, and it's just so important to me. My family life is just like we're so unified, and like I think the unification can also go hand in hand with school, and not only family, but you can make a family somewhere else. Like that's why I think it's so important to just be able to create that unification. Like that's the most important thing that I've learned and stuff. So yeah.
How's Nobi doing?
Who, my brother?
Yeah, no, the other Nobi that you know. Yes.
Yeah, Nina Obi, my sister.
Oh well, I don't know Nina. All right, okay, but I don't know Nina.
He's doing great. He got a 40-hour-a-week job, so he's been grinding. So yeah, he's been doing good though.
That's good, Mr. Bordesi. Any last words for either of our two Webster Schroeder graduates here?
I'm just thankful that I was invited to be on here today to speak about Sam and to even see Jess. These two are going to be great. They come from great families, truly two great Webster families. And I think these guys are going to do great. And I'm looking forward to hearing some stories when you come back. And I think what you said earlier, Sam, about that would be good news if you guys can just get to campus this fall. And my fingers crossed that you guys, are packing up at the end of August and getting the heck out of here.
100%.
Just don't worry. Her Bonaventure starting classes in August, so you're fine.
Yeah, I'm lucky with a smaller school, definitely.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of those college plans that are coming back. So hopefully, we wish you guys the best of luck. I know I missed out on having the two of you in class, but I know that Mr. Mordesi, Mr. Peck, and everybody else, Mr. Brown, that you guys had a good time in their classes and all the other teachers that we have at Webster Schroeder. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye to Jess, Sam, and Mr.
Thank you.
Mordesi.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Thank you. I'm here, you too.
Good luck, guys. I got rid of him. There we go. All right. Would you like to close our wonderful program today, Mr. Peck?
Yeah, I think our 8th episode was pretty great. I just wanted to circle back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, and really even if you don't know what to say about what's going on, it's important that you say something, because silence is consent. We can't be silent anymore about what's going on in our country. We can't be silent anymore about the treatment of people of color in our country. I think you have to say something. You have to think about, one of the things that I've been encouraging, with my students and our discussions of it is thinking about, because we're all angry, we're all disappointed, we're all disgusted, like all these feelings are the same. But really what you gotta think about too is like, well, if you're more angry at the property destruction and you're more angry at the rioting than you are at the events that caused it, I think that's a conversation and a reflection that you need to have with yourself.
I will end it there. I will echo that statement. And I want to thank everybody that was on today, people who waited, people that are actually still watching us at home. Mr. Peck and I really have enjoyed this stuff during quarantine. I think we probably got at least maybe 2 more episodes of this.
We can at least get till 10. That's a full season.
10 is a full season and a good number, I think, too. So anybody that's got any suggestions or ideas, email us. And I think people that watching pretty much know where to find us. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.